Welcome everybody, we've got another video on the channel. This one's about a bunch of upgrades that are for the Clockwork Uconsole. We were sent a bunch of stuff here from hackergadgets.com. If you guys seen my videos previously, you'll know that we had the RTL SDR expansion board from hackergadgets.com, but now they've kind of remade a bunch of different parts for the Uconsole that have a ton of new features and upgrades, and we're going to be taking a look at them right now. But first, let's get this stuff onto a mat. Nice. Okay, so there's a lot going on here, and it's a part of a new kit that they are releasing. It is up for pre-order right now if you go to the link in the description, but you can sort of customize and choose what you want. So when you order yours, it might not come with everything. You have to specifically choose what you want, but we're going to be going over all of the parts we have here. So first, we're going to start at the bottom here. We've got these two modules, and they look, pretty much the same. But what you notice from the original battery, holder that's in the Uconsole is that if I hold this one up to the camera, you'll notice that on the bottom here, we have a SSD slot. And yes, that is a full-size NVMe SSD that you can put in this board right under the batteries, right? And now it connects to the CM5. You've got that, we've seen this on the full-size Raspberry Pi 5s, where it's like a PCI, this is a PCI like thin cable, a flat cable that you can wiggle around. And then we have an option here for a different type of battery. Now, you might be asking, why does it have that connector there if you still have the two, LiPo batteries that you can put here? And now they've actually solved that problem by selling you one that doesn't have one. Right? This one doesn't have one. You can get it without or with it. And if you buy the one that uses the two LiPos, you can desolder it yourself and you still have that functionality. So in my opinion, I would just buy the one that has the LiPos, but it is up to you. If you already have a battery and you know what you're going to be doing with it, this is a good option too. You don't have to do the desoldering. It's already done for you. But between the two, they are the same. You just get the adapter on one and on the other one you don't. And now, you might be asking, how are you going to connect that PCI Express lane to your Raspberry Pi CM5, right? They've actually remade the adapter board that goes into the Uconsole that carries the CM5. And there's a ton of new I/O on this, which you guys can see here. You got a Type-C, you've got, the connector for that PCI lane. You've got a bunch of connectors on the side. That's a fan header, by the way, if you guys know what I'm talking about. And if you wanted to add a fan to your CM5, the Uconsole doesn't really have that feature because it was designed for the CM4. But now we have access to add a fan to this guy, which is amazing. And you've got some other headers there, CS1, and you got the CM5 to USB 3. Yes, this has USB 3. If you use it in conjunction with the expansion board that I'm about to show you, you will get the USB 3.0 functionality. Crazy. And now we have the expansion board. Yes, this has Ethernet, USB-C, and a full-size USB 3.0 connector. That is amazing to see. Now, this is going to connect to that ribbon cable that I showed you, that connector there, using the ribbon cable's right here. I'll show you guys how all of this looks once I get it into my Uconsole, and we'll go over it then. But for now, I'm just going to show you guys, what's going on with this thing, right? So, all right, guys. So you've got that USB 3 Type-C and that RJ45 jack, which is so cool to see. We've got to test the speeds. Maybe we'll do this in the video, or maybe I'll find something on the website and I'll put it up here and I'll show you guys the specs and a screenshot. But this is going to make life a ton easier. Now, another thing that they added onto this is the USB-C on the side here. They've added a USB-C to the bottom, which was pretty much the same thing that we had on the RTL SDR expansion board. Now, they kept that because they do provide a Wi-Fi AC adapter. This is AC 1200. I don't know if this is dual band. Let's see. All right, you do get a USB-C AC 1200 adapter if you choose to include it in your kit, and it will connect inside the Uconsole. So you get this and it'll just connect in like this, and it'll be inside of your Uconsole, somewhat like that, and you can route your antennas. This is especially important for me because I have a CM5 Lite. It doesn't have Wi-Fi or Bluetooth, so I've always had to use a soldered in dongle. But on the flip side to that, when you're using Kali, it's nice to have a better Wi-Fi dongle than what comes on the CM5 because the included one doesn't really work well with it anyways. So I've never really cared about that, but getting this is way better. And if it works with Kali, that's a plus. You got your bracket there, so you can throw that on the side, and the space for the Ethernet is there. The space to see the lights through these little holes are there. Everything is there. And you got your tiny little screw for your M.2 SSD. Now, for the testing today, I was going to use a LiPo battery, and I purchased two of these. This one is a 4,000 milliamp, and the other one I got is a 10,000. They're two different sizes, but I've realized before making this video that they are too big to fit inside of the Uconsole, and I know there's an appropriate size for this because on the website on hackergadgets.com it shows a 10,000 milliamp battery, so I know you can buy one that fits, but these will not. And I might be making a custom bag to fit this big one, but for now we'll do some testing with the LiPos not in the machine. I'll have the back off just so we can test to see if everything works and go from there. So yeah, let's get this stuff into the Uconsole and take a look at how everything works. All right guys, the Uconsole's on the table. We're gonna take this thing apart and put some new stuff in it and see what happens. All right, so you guys are gonna notice, obviously, excuse me, you guys are gonna notice, obviously, if you're doing this upgrade / mod, you're gonna have to remove your RTL SDR expansion board. Most people are not gonna want to give that up. I'm probably included in that, but for the video, we're just going to be removing it just to check out the new stuff and test it out. And yeah, so there's that. All right, guys, so we're gonna compare the original battery holder to the new one. It's a lot bigger, but they're utilizing all the space that's in there. It makes sense, right? You want to throw something in there that you didn't, for a feature you didn't have before. That's pretty nice. That's pretty cool. In terms of everything else, the battery holder is exactly the same. You still have the same kind of layout. Obviously the components are different because if you remove this, you want to be able to put your regular lithium ion battery there. And honestly, it's just pretty well done. Quality is about the same from the OG Uconsole board. So not much to say on that. It's just really good quality. Obviously, if you guys seen my old video, you know what's going on here. And for those who don't, I modified my Uconsole board to add a USB hub internally. After this mod, I can probably remove it, so that's what I'll be doing. But for now, I'm just gonna move it to the side while we put our battery stuff in it. All right, so I got the battery portion in there. The SSD is really form-fitting. It's like really close to the housing, but it fits perfectly. The only thing that was a bit annoying with these wires, which I will get rid of at some point, but for right now, they gotta be there. Next, we're gonna go ahead and do our RTL expansion board, and let's get this out of here. All right guys, so the Ethernet is there. We've got our Type C and our USB 3.0 Type A interface, which is really cool. I know a lot of you guys have been requesting a hardware Ethernet jack on the Uconsole, which to see this is so cool. And that's how it's gonna look. This bracket, this bracket here on the top, I don't think it's metal. It's actually made out of like PCB material, but this might be just what comes in my kit. My kit is a pre-production, so if in the end it might be metal, I'm not sure, but it works just fine. I have no problem with it being PCB material. It might just be cheaper to produce, which is cool with me. It doesn't bug me at all. Just wanted to put that out there for those of you who care about stuff like that. All right, so now we're gonna get to the actual CM5. I'm gonna pull out the board. We're gonna just look at it for a quick second and compare it to the new one. All right, so you guys are gonna notice this is quite a bit bigger. Again, it probably doesn't matter because we've got all that space in there, but man, that is quite a bit bigger. You got to make room for all your connections there. You've got your flat cable connections, your flexible cable connections. There's a dip switch there. Maybe we should look that up and see what that does in a second. But you've got your PCI on the top. You've got another USB Type C. and it says flash, so I'm guessing that might be for installing an OS, or I don't quite know. I haven't read the instructions, but we will find out. Okay, so let's get the CM5 onto this, and we're going to put it in there and see how it all fits. All right, so you guys are going to notice that you have to connect this little cable here for your PCI Express for your SSD. You might want to do that first, but if you have tweezers, I assume you could probably do this after. Actually, I might just do that after, because it might be hard to maneuver this card when it's connected to that. So I'm just gonna put in there again. My wires are in the way from my mod, so it's going to be a little tight to push down. You shouldn't have this issue on yours, because obviously you don't have wires sticking out of your USB port. So I'm just going to push that down. Okay, so I got that clip down there, and now I'm going to put the flat wire for our SSD. Okay, so after messing with it for a second, that's as far as it goes in. So I'm assuming that's how it goes. We'll see if it works. We'll see if it doesn't. Okay, so this is how... Oh, actually, we forgot one thing. We forgot our new Wi-Fi dongle. And yes, it fits in that empty space that we have right here behind the keyboard and the battery. And that is very close to our terminal ports there. I would probably put some Kapton tape there just in case, because I'm paranoid. But it looks really, really cool. This thing is stacked right now. This thing is insanely stacked. We've got Wi-Fi, expansion board, basically the carrier board for the CM5 updated, new battery board updated. Like, this is a whole new machine. It's the last step for them is to literally upgrade the actual main board itself, which they're probably not too far off. HackerGadgets.com is doing an amazing job. But yeah, we've got everything. Actually, I forgot something again. Holy crap. Let's connect our USB 3 interface. We actually did connect that. I kind of forgot in the last segment. You guys saw it wasn't there. This is the connection for the USB 3. You have to use this because they had to pretty much run new connections to the GPIO on the CM5 to get USB 3 working. So it's not like it can just run through this card. You have to use some sort of implementation like this, which is fine. Again, not a big deal. It's just an extra wire. Okay, so I do have an SSD to test this out. I currently have it connected to the computer, backing up some stuff before I wipe it, and then we will continue on with this segment. It'll be like an hour for me, but it'll be like a second for you. So let's go. Okay guys, we are back, and as you can see, it is powered on with this external 10,000 milliamp battery. It's hanging out because obviously it's too big, so I'm just using it for testing purposes. This is not going to be my final setup, but I did install a really small SSD. It's a 512 I took out of, I think it was a Steam Deck or something. It's a 2230, and you just move the little bracket here all the way to the end, and it fits in pretty much any size SSD you have. What I did is I just grabbed the new version of AKRex's image. I flashed it on my computer, and it booted right up. I didn't have to make any changes or anything. It just booted right up. As you guys can see, it is running off the SSD. The old SD card is right here. Not using that anymore, and it feels really great. I did remove the Wi-Fi adapter just because I was getting confused with the two that are in there. I'm gonna cut that one out, and then I'll use this one full time. Just got to get the antenna situation sorted out for that, but right now it's looking great. The battery is showing up there. We're at like about 40%. Everything's working. It feels really snappy. I don't know if it's because of the new update to the kernel that AKRex has done, because I think I was still on the previous build, Bookworm, and now I'm on, I don't know how to pronounce it. I think it was Tronxy. Correct me if I'm wrong. It feels great. It looks like it gets a little warmer than normal. I think that's just because it's working a lot faster. It seems to be getting a little bit hotter, the CM5. I don't know if that's because of the new kernel or if that's just because the SSD is pushing it more and it's going a lot faster, because honestly I can open something really quickly now. Like, as before, it took a couple seconds or a second. Everything just feels really, really good. I will try to find the 10,000 milliamp battery that Hacker Gadgets has displayed in their images that'll fit perfectly, but for now this is not going to work, so I'm just going to go back to batteries. I'll move the SSD and everything and it should work just the same. All right, everyone, we are back. It's been about maybe a week since you guys seen the last clip. I've been using my Uconsole with all the upgrades that we did in the previous clips. I gotta say, man, I didn't think that I would love having that NIC there. Like, I thought I was totally, after the video, going to go back to my RTL SDR, but I didn't. I was actually building or upgrading my home lab, and that NIC came in handy. You know, I had to plug it into my router. I was updating the firmware and changing settings, and instead of, you know, walking to a desktop in my house, I just plugged in to one of the ports and did it like that, and it was great, actually. I had to purchase some antenna, you know, SMA to IPEX connectors that were longer, because obviously this is really far away from where we normally plug in like our Wi-Fi adapters. So I needed to get, I think this is like a foot. You don't need that long because I got a lot extra, but I kind of just folded it on the side. And I got this cool little adapter for my antennas on printables, and I've just been using that. This is my 5 gigahertz. This is my 2.4. I do want to get some that match, but that's all I had in my bin. And yeah, I kind of left this is my Bluetooth. I know it looks jank, but it works. I need the Bluetooth, so my SSD is in there. I haven't even used an SD card. I've had no issues at all, actually. I can get you some speed tests. I'll put them here in the video for you guys if you guys are interested in seeing. I'll do Wi-Fi, and then I will do the NIC that's on there. I can do a local speed test for you guys, so, and your Wi-Fi will vary. Yes, this is an AC card and it is pretty fast, but my router is kind of old at this point, so yours might, you know, your performance might vary on that. I know I said in one of the past clips that the Pi was getting very hot, and I thought it was because of the performance of the SSD. Well, no, that is because this new card actually changes the position of where the CM5 is, and my cooling pad was not touching the Pi 5, so it was just overheating. I moved it now and it's in its proper position, but it's kind of, I don't know if you can see the little stain there, but it's way off of where it used to be. It used to be like over here somewhere, and now it's off to the side. So if you have custom backplates for your Uconsole that have like an opening for a heatsink, yeah, you're gonna have to get new ones. I'm not sure if Hacker Gadgets is planning something with this, but for a lot of people, that's going to be very frustrating because you're going to have to go back to the original back case. Someone like me, I had a clear one on it with a cutout for a heatsink, and that kind of made me have to swap over. I don't know about you guys, but that is something that you should know if you're looking to buy this. So right now, this is still on pre-order as of making this video. It should be out at the end of November. I will have a link for the pre-order down below, and I will also have a link for the battery, the LiPo battery that fits inside the original case. This one doesn't, this one's bigger, but I have been given the model to order, so I will provide that link below so you guys can see if you want that. I definitely want to try that in the future, but for right now I can't get one within a good time span. For me, where I live, they're about like maybe like 3 weeks out, and then there's tariffs on top of that, so I ain't ordering that right now. But nonetheless, I will have those links for you guys. I highly recommend, if you're just gonna get some components here, I would highly recommend getting the carrier board for the CM5 and the SSD tray with the battery stuff. Most people are not gonna need the NIC unless you use this for work and you're setting up a bunch of networking equipment and you want to be wired in for whatever purpose. You might not need that. Yes, USB 3.0 is nice, but I like my RTL SDR. I use that a lot. And yes, I did just say I love it, and I did use this, but I still want to use my SDR. So I think at some point I will be going back. Not right now, but I will be going back to the SDR. I don't know if Hacker Gadgets will be making a combo card. I think I did see something like that where it has the SDR and the USB 3 on one card. I would totally get something like that. Like, please. You could remove the mesh tastic and just put the RTL SDR with a NIC and the USB 3, and I'm all on that. Like, I want it now. Like, I want that now. But I highly recommend get the carrier board and get the SSD/battery board. Best upgrade you can do for your Uconsole. You get the full performance of an SSD, and you get to add a fan if you want a custom back on this board. You get a bunch of features that I didn't even mention in this video. You know, so I'm just scratching the surface of what you get with this carrier board. Highly recommend it. Thanks to Hacker Gadgets for sending this out for us to look at. You guys are single-handedly keeping the Uconsole afloat. Like, words cannot express how much these upgrades will add to this device, honestly. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next one. It's probably going to be a Uconsole video because I'm going to be stuck using this thing for a while. Have a good one, everyone. See you next time.